Okay guys, I made the biggest mistake of my life at a wedding. I kissed someone else and my husband just sent the video to my entire family. I don't know what to do.
I never imagined that one reckless moment could turn my entire life into rubble. If someone had told me that a single kiss would cost me my marriage, my reputation, and nearly my sanity, I would have laughed it off. But standing in the quiet aftermath of everything I lost, laughter feels like something that belonged to a different lifetime. My sister's wedding was supposed to be a celebration. A vineyard glowing under soft lights, music floating through the warm evening air, champagne flowing freely. I wore a dress I hadn't felt confident enough to wear in years, and for the first time in a long while I felt noticed. My husband, Aaron, had been distant for months. Not cruel, not unfaithful, just absent. We spoke more about schedules than feelings, more about responsibilities than dreams. I told myself I understood. Life gets busy. Marriage settles. That's what people say. Still, watching him laugh with guests while barely glancing my way made something bitter rise in my chest. Then I saw him. An old acquaintance from years ago, familiar and charming in a way that felt effortless. He complimented me, asked how I was really doing, and laughed at my jokes. The attention felt intoxicating, especially paired with alcohol and that simmering resentment. I should have stepped back. I should have walked away. I didn't. The kiss wasn't subtle. It wasn't an accident. It was impulsive and selfish, fueled by a childish desire to finally be seen. For a few seconds, I forgot where I was and who I was hurting. Then I heard glass shatter. Aaron stood there, frozen, disbelief etched into his face. He didn't shout. He didn't cause a scene. He simply turned and walked away, leaving behind a silence that was heavier than any accusation could ever be. I chased him, apologizing through tears, trying to explain how meaningless the kiss was, how much I still loved him. He just listened, his expression completely unreadable. That should have been my warning. When he didn't come home that night, panic set in. When days passed without any contact, the guilt became unbearable. I assumed he needed space. I told myself he'd cool down, that we'd talk, that we could still fix this. I had no idea he was planning something far, far colder. The first sign was subtle. Friends stopped responding to my messages. Coworkers started treating me differently, whispering whenever I entered a room. Then my employer called me in asking about concerning material that had been circulated. I didn't even understand what they meant until they showed me. Private moments. Conversations I never consented to being recorded. All of it was stripped of context, repackaged into something utterly humiliating. I was suspended, then fired before I could even process what was happening. Next came the online chaos. My accounts were hacked, lies spread with alarming speed. Suddenly, I was portrayed as unstable, promiscuous, completely untrustworthy. People I had known for years turned their backs on me overnight. My phone buzzed constantly, not with support, but with judgment. I finally heard from Aaron weeks later. He didn't deny anything. He told me so calmly that I had humiliated him in public, so he returned the favor, privately and permanently. He said trust, once shattered, doesn't get repaired, it gets replaced with consequences. His voice carried no satisfaction, only a chilling resolve. I tried to fight back. I was exhausted, unemployed, and totally isolated, but desperation has a way of sharpening your focus. I started documenting everything, reaching out for legal help, reclaiming my accounts piece by piece. It was slow and humiliating, but each small victory reminded me that I still existed beyond what was being done to me. The truth, when it finally surfaced, didn't erase my mistake. I had betrayed my marriage, I own that, but what he did. What followed was no longer about accountability. It was about annihilation. As evidence of his campaign against me emerged, public opinion slowly began to shift. People started asking uncomfortable questions about his actions. And just like that, Aaron disappeared from my life entirely, leaving behind nothing but destruction and silence. Rebuilding wasn't some dramatic movie montage. I moved back in with my parents. I worked jobs I never imagined myself doing. I learned to exist without needing constant validation. Therapy forced me to confront not only my guilt, but why I had sought that attention so desperately in the first place. Loneliness doesn't excuse betrayal, but it does explain vulnerability. Years passed. The scandal faded, replaced by newer, more interesting ones. I found work again, slowly rebuilt trust, and carefully formed new relationships with people who knew my full story and decided to stay anyway. I learned boundaries, not just in my relationships, but with myself. I don't excuse what I did. That kiss was a choice and it shattered something sacred. But I also learned that revenge, when taken too far, poisons everyone it touches, including the one who delivers it. I don't know where Aaron is now. I hope he found peace, not because I think I deserve his forgiveness, but because carrying that level of anger destroys the person holding it. I had to learn that lesson myself. What remains of my life is quieter. It's less glamorous, but it's more honest. I wake up each day knowing I survived the worst version of myself and the most ruthless response to it. I live with regret, but I no longer live in shame. I know now that one mistake doesn't have to define your entire lifetime, but how you rise afterward does. That wedding night ended my old life. But everything that came after it taught me how to build a new one. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever felt defined by a mistake, remember you have the power to write the next chapter. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about resilience and rebuilding. See you next time.